Right now, that big story of the day takes us to all the evacuations that are happening in the Middle East from American citizens. They have started. A senior State Department official telling Fox News, confirming that evacuation flights are underway. Bus evacuations by land are also being conducted in parts of the region. It all comes as Israel has stepped up airstrikes on Iranian missile launchers and factories, and Iran is retaliating against Israel and across the Gulf region, disrupting everything from energy supplies to, of course, travel as explosions ring out in Tehran and as well in Lebanon, where Israel said it struck back at Hezbollah militants. The American embassy in Saudi Arabia coming under drone attack. Meanwhile, President Trump hosting German Chancellor Friedrich Merz at the White House. He praised the progress of this U.S. military operation in the Middle East.
They have no Navy, it's been knocked out. They have no Air Force, it's been knocked out. They have no air detection, that's been knocked out. Their radar has been knocked out. And just about everything's been knocked out.
Joining us now, Executive Director for Concerned Veterans for America, John Vick. Good to see you, John. And we're also getting reports at this hour that the U.S. consulate in Dubai has been struck by Iranian missiles. Paint the picture right now for what's happening in the Middle East.
Well, not to go too far back in history, but there's a lot of unknown unknowns when you're dealing with a country like Iran. Now, it is true that this has been a remarkable military operation, which we would expect from two very capable militaries, the United States and, of course, Israel. Just a few hours ago, news came out that you had the Iranian Supreme Council voting on the new supreme leader, and Israel was able to target that meeting as well. That being said, we've never had this level of intensity with drone conflict in any American military operation, right? And so it's a lot of it has really caught a lot of us off guard, not just in the military, but also in the State Department. I used to work with embassy security when I was stationed in Africa. Thinking about the defense plans for over-the-horizon autonomous vehicles that are loaded with explosives, that's just not something that people have had to deal with before. And I think, frankly, it's terrible that we've lost 6 service members. But I'm honestly a little bit surprised that it's gone as well as it has, especially at diplomatic locations around the world.
You have been in conflict zones. You are familiar with this. In your estimation, is the United States at war?
It certainly looks that way. Now, if this thing wrapped up in a week and a year goes by, people probably wouldn't look back on it and say, the 2026 Iran war. But I think when you have thousands of service members in harm's way, it's certainly a war to them, and it's certainly a war to everybody in the region getting shot at right now across a dozen or so different countries.
Mm-hmm. So what, to your point, what do the next couple days, weeks look like? The president's been asked about this. He says that this could take up to 4 weeks. The timeline seems uncertain. We saw the first strike happening over the weekend, but this has now continued on, and those retaliatory strikes continue, including into U.S. property, the U.S. consulate in Dubai. And we know Dubai considered one of the safest cities across the globe, but not right now.
Yeah, well, I think what we've seen is the limitation of air defense systems, right? Even from among the best countries in the world. Another fascinating thing is all the Chinese equipment that was also considered, some of the latest and greatest that had been given to Iran. Most of that wiped out as well. And so I think what we're seeing is, the extraordinary leaps that offensive capabilities have taken, and also the limitation of a lot of defensive capabilities, including some of our own that defend our facilities across the country. I think, too, what I really want to see out of the administration is more of a clear end state. What does success look like in this particular mission? The polling came out over the weekend, even before we had news of the service members that we had lost, that about 60% of Americans don't currently support this action against Iran. I think that if this is going to continue and ultimately be a success, we need the administration to really define what success looks like, what the in-state or exit strategy is, and really start selling that to the American people.
Well, to that point, right, messaging has been not great. There hasn't been a lot of talk from the White House as to why this could happen. It was a surprise attack. We had seen the carriers out in the Gulf out there positioning themselves, so presumably we knew that something could happen, but there was a sense that this was more about nuclear sites, and we've seen that this is well past the nuclear sites and that Israel is involved, and it's much bigger than that. And that will tell, I believe, what Congress thinks, if in fact they believe that the president made the correct action.
Yeah, we've kind of seen it dance all over the place, not just from the president, but also the Secretary of State. Is this about the nuclear program? Is this about ballistic missile capability? Is this about regime change or inspiring regime change from the ground up among the Iranian people? We're only a few days in, but I think if you're like most Americans, even the ones that are not watching the news all day every day, you're pretty much not sure what's going on. And until we can define that, I don't think you're going to see a lot of popular support for this action, especially if casualties continue to rise.
What do you foresee happening in the next couple of days, given what we've already seen from Iran? Is there the possibility that Russia steps into this, or for now, do you think things are contained and it's just Iran fighting against virtually the entire Middle East and the United States?
I do not see Russia or China or any other, of these groups getting involved. What I could foresee is more action from Iran's proxy groups, right? Like Hamas and Hezbollah or the Houthis down in Yemen. We really don't know, what kind of stockpiles they have. Are they part of a future strategy that's going to try to come and, hit us from the left flank or something like that? So there's some unknown unknowns. We've never gone up against a group with this much over-the-horizon capability before, and also this many proxy groups around the region that could act in unexpected ways.
All right, we'll be watching, as I'm sure you will be as well. Thank you, John, for the assessment at this hour there.